Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 1980's New Year's Evil, which was directed by Emmett Alston. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Erik.
And happy almost New Year. And, before we jump into this, Erik, how was your Christmas?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful?
Just a
Oh.
lot of Christmas cheer. Not a black Christmas, but a good Christmas.
Any specific things that stand out to you?
My daughter Summer was hoping for a slinky dog, and she got it. So
Oh.
I know what's his name? Andy Danish has been a guest on the show, and he voiced the slinky dog in previous video games, and it's kind of cool to know that.
Oh, like Erik, that sounds like a
Yeah.
wonderful.
How about your Christmas? How was your Christmas?
That was great. No, it was really good. I was in Connecticut. It was just again full of cheer and
Colder than what you're used to.
oh, so cold, so cold.
So cold.
I know. And I was at my uncle's house, which was nice, and yeah, everything was great. Now I'm heading back to warm LA, and now we're talking New Year's Evil.
And we're looking forward to 2025
Haha.
coming up soon. 5 years after the pandemic, 5 years after all the chaos in our lives. Here we go. Let's talk New Year's Evil.
Yeah, and technically, I know this is crazy, but technically, this is 5 years of Wheel of Horror. We started in 2020, and now we're 2025. That's crazy.
I know it's pushing five. It'll be 5 years in October, which is just we're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be cool.
Oh, hell yeah. But now, talking New Year's Evil, hey, I kind of liked it. I thought this movie was going to be like really bad.
I liked it. It was short enough.
Yeah, it had its moments. It had its moments. And I liked the music.
It's so funny. New Year's Evil.
I love
That's
that.
all the song is.
It's amazing. It's just like, motherfucking midnight, it's almost midnight, it's fucking midnight. Like it's great.
Yeah.
So if you like that song, you're gonna love the movie. But I don't know, it's a very early 80s slasher movie, 1980. So this came out like right after Friday the 13th, and it definitely is capitalizing on that Halloween kind of like
Holiday.
the holiday
Thing.
craze.
Can we, before we get in there, is there can you name any other New Year's horror movie? I cannot.
No, I can't think of any. I'm sure there are.
I'm sure there are going to be. I'm sure all Hollywood executives are freaking out, like, why don't we have a New Year's movie? And this is kind of a good way to do it. It's like a New Year's Rockin' Eve, and it goes wrong, and that's kind of what the story is. But it's New Year's Eve, and New Year's should be a horror movie. Absolutely. More. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if they remade this, it definitely would be at Times Square.
New Year's Rockin' Eve, Times Square with Planet Fitness hats in the background and shit.
Yeah, it would definitely be that, but this is like much more small scale. It's like it kind of felt like a little bit like Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I get that.
Earlier punk, I guess, but yeah, so basically it's like this woman her name is Blaze, and she's the host of this show in LA.
So is she like a Cher? Like, what is she? Like, she's like a Madonna? Like, what is she?
She's like, I guess like I don't know, I want to say like Pat Benatar, but I feel like not even that. But she's like a host of a punk show in LA.
But she's like on the like outskirts of Hollywood and fame, right? She's
Yeah,
not doing well. Okay.
I think she's like it would almost be like Wayne's World, I want to say, like it would be like a local, no, but I don't know if it was local.
This shit is going coast to coast. It's going to Aspen. It's going to
Yeah,
it's
so
going coast to coast. So I think she would be like a Pat Benatar, but like later than Pat Benatar. So it's like almost like looking at someone in their career that's like truly Twilight. Like, I don't know, like Dolly Parton. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
she's 37, this actress at this time, so
Right.
she's not that old, but she's like a punk persona. It's almost like, you know what it feels like? It's like a VH1 or an MTV like VJ
Yep.
host, and yeah, but this is like very early 80s. This is 1980.
But this is also at the start of like New Year's Rockin' Eve when it would go simultaneously coast to coast and they would cut to each New Year's through the hour.
Yeah.
So it is pretty inventive.
Yeah, and that this movie did that, but it was more for like a niche audience, kind of like the hardcore punk audience. It's not like your grandparents are watching this. Like this is very niche.
This is yeah, it's very like 18 to 24-year-olds are watching this, even younger.
And it's like the Blaze show, and they play music, and she's the host, and it's fun or whatever. But before that, this movie just starts off right with a killing. There's like this woman who's just getting ready, and she's like, "Hey, I'll be right there," or whatever, and then she just gets murdered. And we find out later that that's Blaze's co-host. And we get some cool shots of LA, and they show just like punk people driving around, and so we get the tone of like what's going on with the show. But her co-host just got murdered, and then we cut to Blaze getting dressed up, the host of the show, and her son comes in. Did you recognize her son?
I recognized them and I had to look it up and yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Mike Tobacco from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
It bothered me for like a minute and I was like, I'm not gonna look it up. I can figure this out. And then like 2 minutes in, I was like, I gotta look this up. And
Yeah.
He is such a good awkward actor. In this movie, he is insanely awkward. I don't even know. I don't know. Awkward isn't the right word. It's cringe. It's so many words.
Just unnecessary.
Unnatural. On everything.
Yeah, so he comes in and basically he booked this acting role and he was excited to tell his mom about, but she's too busy with her agent and they're getting ready for the show and their ratings are down and they're too busy. So the son's all pissed off and he's sad and he's just like, "You never noticed me, Mom." Like, yeah, so then we get to the show. The show's happening. They're playing the same theme song, the New Year's Evil theme or whatever.
How does that go again?
It's just like something after midnight, something midnight, blah blah blah, blah fucking midnight, something like that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, love it.
It's something like that. I don't know. I haven't heard it, but in a while. Yeah. So then we get our first call. So we've got our first murder, and they're like, "Where's my host? My host is gone." But then we get a call, and the call, dude, it was like comical.
Dude, it was bad. It was bad. It's like Scream did a good job with the voice changer. This was like the one way you don't want to use a voice changer. And also thinking of Black Christmas, which we just did, but I watched the wrong one. The voice changer in Black Christmas from 1974 was worlds better than this voice changer.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it?
Dude, it sounded like Dr. Evil. He's like, "I'm evil."
It was bad. It was bad. I'm evil, and I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for your people, and you're gonna have to deal with it. And me and me are coming for you. Okay.
And I think he used the thing that like Peter Frampton uses, or like Aerosmith for the Sweet Emotions. I think he was using that because it looked like a straw thing.
Sweet evil emotion.
It was something bad, but it was terrible. So he calls the place and he's like, "I'm gonna kill a person every hour on the hour until midnight. And it's gonna be somebody that's close to you." So this is on the air, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, like this is crazy," or whatever. Okay, first gripe of the movie, which we find out later. None of these people have anything to do with Blaze. None of them. Like some of them are just random people he comes upon. The only one that he killed that was friends with her is the woman in the beginning.
At the beginning, the first woman she calls.
Yeah, that's it.
The black woman, and that's it.
That's it. Everybody else is just random. You're like, "Oh shit, it's gonna be the son." Like that's why they introduced the son. No. And the other thing that's kind of interesting, we see the killer's face right from the start. It's just like, oh, okay, like this is it. Like it's just some white guy with like nice hair.
He's like a good-looking guy.
But it's just random that you're like, why would you fucking show the face? But then basically we find out this movie is just him going to random places throughout the night, just killing random people, and he puts on disguises.
But this is where I was gonna cut you off. Was like, is it like a Jason thing where it's like I want to kill women because they're dishonest and something, right? Like
he doesn't say that. But this movie, okay, I guess I was gonna save this for later, but this movie is everything that is stereotypically wrong with horror movies or slasher movies specifically, where people say like, "Oh, they're sexist against women. They kill the black people first." This movie is all of those things.
I feel that. Yes.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it is super misogynistic, especially the end.
Like women are just helpless. Like they could not fight for the lights in this movie, which doesn't make sense. I don't know.
We'll get to his motive and all that later, but like it's just as far as I can tell, he's just like a very jealous, misogynistic man, and he's acting out in a crazy way. And another thing, which is kind of a trend I'm noticing in these older ones, it's like, oh, he was in a mental asylum and he escaped. It's like
Yeah, yeah, sure. Me too.
that's happening a lot. And so apparently this guy was in a mental asylum. But another thing, this makes no sense, dude. So, okay. So the son of Blaze, the woman or whatever, he's like 20 years old, 18 to 20 or whatever. Blaze is 37. So that means that she had him when he was 18 with this guy. So when was this guy in the mental asylum? Was it while he was a kid? Like they never say that.
So can we say this too? Like we don't find out that's his son until the very end,
Oh yeah, we don't find out any of that.
which is very important to this movie is to know that like it all is a lineage thing where the husband of Blaze is the killer. His son is also crazy. I mean, yeah, he's crazy. Let's just call it that in a nice way. And it's like he wants his mom too. It's weird. And yeah, this movie's a lot, but the end reveals like it explains a lot. But I was also surprised by the ending. I gotta be honest.
No, I was too, but I didn't. They didn't sink the landing at all, and
No, they didn't sink the landing, but they surprised me. So I give them that.
yeah, it's not terrible this movie,
No.
but it's got the ending. I hated it, but we'll get to that in a little while. But yeah, so this guy goes, and the first woman that he kills, he goes to a hospital, and he just starts like fucking immediately walks up to this nurse, and he's like, "Hey, I'm like helping out tonight," and she's like, "Okay."
But it's like an insane asylum too, right?
Is it? I couldn't. I don't know. It was
Well,
some
the
maybe it was.
patients looked like they were like needed an insane help, I guess, because they were all having their New Year's Eve party and
Oh, maybe that was where he was.
maybe,
Oh, okay. That could have been, yeah.
maybe. So that adds to the plot. But he goes in there, acts like a new doctor, right? He's like, I'm Doctor Oz.
Not even doctor. He's like, I'm filling in for the night. Like, you guys are short-staffed. And she's like, thank God we are. And she like doesn't question it.
And she's like, she's so attractive, this guy and stuff. And
I mean, I love that line where he's like, so what do you say? We go in the back. She's like, I've known you for 5 minutes. He's like, does it matter? She's like, on New Year's Eve? I guess not. And you're like, oh my God, they're drinking like champagne out of like Dixie cups and stuff. You're like, this woman really likes this guy. Like, holy shit.
yeah. So I mean that's what happens is and then they start hooking up and then he's starting to make the move and then all of a sudden he's just like, you know what? Instead of making the move, I'm gonna stab you with a switchblade like 20 times and that's how it ends.
When he records it too, he's like audio recording it.
Yeah.
And then while this is all happening, it's just like Blaze's show is going on, and it's a lot. It's like music videos length of the music. Like they're showing like the full concert.
But they're showing the same song over and over again. Like a lot.
I know they do. So then we get another call though, and Blaze is like she answers on the show again, and he plays the recording to show that it's serious, and you're like, uh-oh. So then the cops get involved, and they come and they blame her. They're just like, well, look at you and look at your show. Of course you're getting this kind of stuff, and it's like, damn. It's like, don't you want to solve this? Like, don't be a dick.
It's like if a shooting happened at a Marilyn Manson concert, everyone would be like, "Yeah, of course." Like, why wouldn't that happen? It's like,
Yeah.
don't say that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they're just blaming the person, for the actions that happened at their show, or not even like this guy's just calling her randomly. This could have been any fucking crazy person calling any radio show and doing this, but it just happened to be hers. But anyways, the cops blame her because of her music, which is like, I don't, it's so tame now, but I guess whatever. 1980,
compared to today, this is nothing.
they're like this devil music.
This WAP music, like not even close.
No. So then the cops are like, all right, we got to trace the call or whatever. So you got to keep him on, and he calls back in an hour. And they're showing all these various cities. So they show New York, they show Aspen, which honestly, dude, Aspen looked pretty cool.
I kind of want to go to the Aspen one outside with the fires and stuff. Like that looked like I'm like, yeah, I want that New Year's.
Everybody was skiing, holding like a little flame bag or something like that, which probably pretty dangerous, but I don't know, whatever. And it looked fun. It looked like, it was like the whole mountain was lit up with people. It was cool. And so then, yeah, so now he's got to kill on Central Time because he just did the East Coast, so he's got to go for his next kill. So he like puts on a mustache and goes into some random bar and picks up this girl again. Like he's a good looking guy and he's very suave. So you're just like, dude, what is your fucking deal? Like,
What happened? What happened to you, man? Like, what's wrong?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know either. I don't know.
yeah. So this girl's like, sure, like let's go, like have sex, whatever. Want me to bring my friend though? And he's just like, fuck. So he's like, all right, come on. So he's like, then he gets like pissed off, which you're like, dude, like this girl's probably like, we're probably gonna have a threesome. He's like, I don't fucking care. Like, let's go. So they leave and they drive and they're talking about like transcendental meditation and diarrhea and just all this stuff. And you can tell the killer is just pissed off. And he's like, why don't you go get us some liquor or whatever? So he sends the other girl inside to the liquor store. And then the one he was talking to, he just kills her in the car. And then the other girl, dude, this liquor store scene was so weird. Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was weird. The movie was weird in dialogue wise and just like how people act wise. I don't know.
It was like she goes in the liquor store and it just cuts to the cashier and he's just like, have a very happy New Year's. And then she just like somberly like bows her head and then walks out. It was so weird.
Yeah.
So then she walks out. She sees that her friend's shoe or whatever is on the ground. She sees blood. So she's like, what's going on? So she goes out there, like follows it all the way to the back alley dumpster instead of being like, I'm going to go get help. Like, I don't know. But she just follows the blood and follows the clothes, goes to the dumpster. And then the killer jumps out and kills her in the dumpster, records it or recorded the girl in the car and then calls the place again. And he's like, they're at Laurel Canyon and, something. And, then the police come. And this, actually, I gotta say, this is kind of cool. If you ever do come out and visit me, I live super close to that movie theater that the drive-in. It's called it says the Van Nuys Drive-In. And I was like, I looked it up, it closed, but I live really close, Eric. We can go visit.
Well, we should.
I live in Van Nuys. It's the Van Nuys Drive-In. It's actually where Brad Pitt's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood lived. He lived in behind the screen. I don't know if you remember that.
Well, I think we should go there.
Van Nuys, baby.
Benos, Pride of California.
Yeah, so then we get this like crazy scene where for some reason he's like, all right, I'm gonna dress up as a priest now and I'll go get my next kill or whatever. He then like fights with these bikers for no reason, really. Am I crazy? Like, did the bike?
I think. Can I say this? That's what took me out of the movie is that the killer is now getting hunted by a bunch of bikers.
Yeah, what the hell happened?
I fucking hated that.
Yeah.
I mean, he did some smart stuff, but like the biker flips him off, and then he rams into their bikes, and then it's just like, what? Also, it reminds me of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Like, you don't mess with bikers' bikes, and it was just so much like the killer is being hunted now, and
So dumb, dude. Like,
and like we're not rooting for the killer at this point.
no, but the killer should know, like, hey, I've just killed three people. And I have to get ready for my next kill or whatever if I'm going to stick to this routine or whatever. And then he decides to just like, instead of just be like, whatever, they're flipping me off. He's like, I'm going to ram their bikes now. Like, why would he do that? That was so dumb. And then you're right. It turns into a chase scene of him running away from these bikers.
And we're like rooting for him to get away. It's like, no, I'm not rooting for him to get away.
Yeah.
It's very unique to see that in a horror film. Honestly,
Imagine Michael Myers just like randomly gets chased by a biker gang.
no, it's like imagine Michael Myers like he just speeds way too fast, and the cops are about to pull him over. He's like, fuck, and he's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go, and then that's exactly what the scene is.
Yeah, it's like GTA. It like really is. And he gets to the Van Nuys Drive-In and there's a movie playing and it was so funny, dude. It's like Bloodfest and Blood Rage or something like that, like the double blood feature. Like, I don't know if those are real movies, but it was funny to hear in the background.
I guess the 80s were a different time and they had those movies.
I mean, yeah, they seemed awful, but whatever. And then the killer is being chased and he abandons his car, runs over to a random couple having sex, breaks in, steals the guy, throws him out, the girl's in the back screaming, and he just drives away, smashes some more bikes or whatever, and he's got this girl in the back, and you're like, okay, he's definitely gonna kill this girl. And then, dude, he chases her, she gets away because the killer pulls up and there's these two drunk guys on the road, and they're like, hey, get out of the car, man, or whatever, and the girl runs. And then he chases after her, and the place that she hides was so obvious. this, dude. It was like, killer clearly saw her, but she's like, he won't see me here. And it's like this light is just right on her. And the cop does come. The cops actually do come and save her, which was crazy.
Yeah, she survived, right?
She did, but it's so funny that she thought that she could hide in that spot. And then the killer was right about to kill her. And then all of a sudden the cop comes out and he's like, right, miss, are you okay? Because he clearly sees her too.
So it's interesting. It's like we're watching a novice killer. Like
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy is not good at killing.
Well, he's good. He's charismatic at getting people to feel comfortable, but when he's running from people and just stealing cars, yeah, he's not very
So
good.
he's like Ted. He's a good looking killer.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And you're
Okay,
right. This might be his first time. I mean, as far as we know, it is.
this has to be. It feels like it is.
Yeah, so he misses his next kill. So he's got to be like, fuck. So he just goes to the studio.
Isn't he supposed to kill on the hour and he didn't? And it's like, oh, it looks like this is no big deal.
Yeah, so he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go kill her or whatever. So he's still as a priest, goes to the place where they're filming the show. The show's over now, I think. And he just breaks in. He literally like tricks this police officer. He's just like, hey, police.
He just hits him with a brick and steals his police uniform, right?
That was so dumb. He literally was like, hey, police officer, I think there's a drunk over here. And the police officer, there is, and just walks over and then he just smashes his head with a brick. And apparently that guy survives because later on the radio, you're like, he smashed the hell out of one of my guys with a brick.
I mean, honestly, if I was to go on a killing spree tonight, like right now at 9:30 at night, and yeah, this is how it would go because it'd just be a chaos. And this is like a chaotic way to kill people. This is insane. This
Yeah.
whole killing spree is insane.
Well, it all starts to fall apart at this point because I mean now he's just improvising. He's like, "Fuck it, I just got to get to her, or whatever." So he smashes the cop's head in, dresses up as a cop, sneaks into her room somehow, which is blocked by cops.
Which they also closed it off at this point. The whole event is closed off. If you leave, you're out, but if you're in, you're in. And yeah, it's weird.
So he gets in, dressed as a cop, and then the son is in the room, and the mother walks in with the cop or whatever, and the son's there, and he's just like, "You've been such a bad mom to me my whole life," and like runs out or whatever. And also, just really quick, the whole movie, he's been like putting her pantyhose on his head, piercing his own ear, just walking around the building, like not doing anything of importance.
Taking drugs too. He took like a bunch of pills and stuff.
Yeah, he took a bunch of pills. Like his character's kind of useless, honestly. It's very odd. But then we finally get that Blaze is getting changed. She's like, I'm getting dressed or whatever. So she's alone, and then the killer comes out dressed in like I think it's a Richard Nixon mask.
What the fuck mask was that?
I don't know.
It was cool. It was cool. I liked the mask, but it was not Richard Nixon. It reminded me of the Joker when he wore to rob the bank in the Dark Knight movie.
Kind of. It's weird.
It was just like a bald mask, kind of, but like with a big nose, and it's scary no matter what. But where'd you get that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one, but you think he's going to kill her, but then all of a sudden he takes off his mask, and you're like, Richard.
Oh, my husband's finally here. I thought you weren't gonna make it, my husband. And it's like
Yeah.
the husband, the
Yeah.
husband. It caught me off guard.
Me too.
So I give this movie that credit.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like he is so much younger than her in my mind.
Nah.
Am I wrong by saying that? No?
I think they're about the same age, I think.
Okay. Well, I just felt that he was a younger stud of, I don't know,
He's 2 years younger than her. 2 years.
in real life or
In real life, yeah.
okay. Oh, how about my tongue?
Wait, really quick before we get to the end, you ready for this?
Bring it on.
So the lead woman, Blaze, her name is Roz Kelly, and she was the Fonz's girlfriend on Happy Days.
Hey.
So in 1998, she was arrested for firing a 12-gauge shotgun into the living room of a neighbor's house after a car alarm had woken her up. Then she also shot the neighbor's car and another nearby car. The neighbor was not home at the time. She pled no contest and received 3 years of felony probation on October 20th, 2000. She was also ordered to receive psychiatric counseling and pay restitutions. Then, a week later, She was sentenced to 120 days in jail after pleading no contest to charges stemming from August of that same year for hitting a man with her own cane. And then, yeah, so she had to go to jail a week after.
So wait, so this is all after this movie.
Yeah, this is like 18 years later, yeah. But I just thought it
Oof.
was that's like her entire Wikipedia is just like she just like was shooting shotguns at people, beating up old men.
Mm.
Like I don't know. But yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. Her life is the Fonz's girlfriend to this to then jail.
She's still alive?
Yeah, I think so. She was born in 1943.
Good. All right.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's still alive.
And
81.
she's still up to no good? Or is she in prison?
That was 24 years ago. She went to jail. So I think that's it. So
Well, I mean, it sounds like she's like, yeah, a typical horror final girl.
yeah, but this ending is where the movie loses me. Like, I was super invested when we found out that this is her husband, and I was like, oh, sick.
Yes, I was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, oh shit, like what's happening? And
Yeah,
then that's where I thought the movie could really take off and do well, but it didn't do well. It did not, and then it did not stick the landing.
it's horrible. It's literally like he beats the shit out of the cop, drags her into the elevator, fucks with the elevator so that it's like stuck or whatever, and then he just confesses.
But here's the other thing: he has no interaction with his son, right?
I mean, I don't think they've interacted at all in the movie.
I know, but like, I think if there's interactions with the son, who's definitely deranged in him, it could have been a little bit more of an added, I don't know, added plot. But like, there's nothing.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we get to the son in a second, but when they're in the elevator and he is just explaining his confession to her, it is like the most pathetic thing in the world. It's just like,
Yeah, it's long and it's annoying.
you're so rich and I need to, to get money from you as an allowance and you don't pay attention to me and women are bad and blah, blah. And I was like, this is so bad. This like, I was so invested and then completely like, oh my God, I hate this movie now. Yeah, it's a terrible 5 minutes of him just ranting about how bad women are.
But I'll give the credit that it is doing something that's saying like he is someone who is just hurting and is not the Michael Myers type killer or any killer. He's clearly like not well and is dealing with some shit.
Yeah, he just needs to communicate, but he's like, no, I'm gonna kill a bunch of people. So he's crazy. So yeah, I hated that whole confession. Then he ties up his wife to the bottom of the elevator and just fucks with her and just kind of runs it up and down while she's chained to the bottom.
Apparently he's an expert electrician too, with how to work the elevator and the lights and everything and how to do the everything, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. He just took a screwdriver and was able to like shut off cameras, shut up the elevator wherever he wanted. It was crazy. It's very unrealistic for 1980, but whatever. Even now, but still. Yeah, so then eventually the police are like, he's in the building, so they have like a fucking real shootout, like a full-blown, they're just shooting at like a Scarface shootout, not a horror movie shootout.
While he's trying to kill his wife and drop her from the elevator, and during the shootout, the cops shoot the elevator like electronic box and stop her from falling. Dude, it was insane.
Yeah, and then Richard escapes. He gets outside and he puts the mask back on. And they're like, "Drop the gun." And he's like, "Okay." So he puts down everything, and the helicopters are there, and everything's there. And it's just like, what's he gonna do? He's on the top of the building, and then he recites Hamlet, "The Sleep No More."
That was bizarre.
Yeah, and that comes out of nowhere. He's never mentioned Shakespeare once, and all of a sudden he just says this, monologue from Hamlet.
Like, do or do not, I will not try, and then jumps off the building.
He's like, "Sleep no more."
Yeah, exactly.
And he jumps off the building and dies. And from that height, he would be just fucking guts. But he's literally like perfect.
Yeah, he's still very good looking when he died. Really, it should be like The Departed when what's his name falls off the building, just like his body's just splat.
Yeah, it was very like, no, no, no. But then his son runs over to him and he's just like, "Dad, how could you? Like, no, like, no. What did mom do?"
And he takes the mask off him, like, no, Dad, no, take this fucking clown mask off you. And
Yeah, he takes the mask, and then they take the mom out. They save her, and they bring her into the ambulance. And then the killer is the son, and he's in the front seat of the ambulance, and he's killed the driver, and he's driving away with the mom, and dun dun dun, and that's it.
oh Year's Evil plays again, probably. I don't remember.
It's
That's the movie.
yeah, it's honestly, it's not very good.
Yeah. I'm going to say this one more time. There is no other New Year's movie I can think of.
This, and I rarely say this is a movie that I actually think would do better with a remake. I think they have the plot. They just need to kind of make it make more sense and have the stakes be higher. And I think they could actually pull this off, but this I didn't love.
Can I throw out the stats to you real quick?
Yeah.
As we do this. New Year's Evil came out December 19th, 1980, which is tonight when we're recording this. We're recording this on December 19th. 44 years ago to the day it came out.
Wow.
But the movie's an hour 25. It had a $500,000 budget. Its box office is unknown. I looked it up. I couldn't find it anywhere. Rotten Critics scores a 25 and its Rotten Audience is a 15, which is
damn.
Yeah, it's a hard audience score, you know?
Well, nobody is seeing a movie on New Year's Eve, right?
What do you mean?
Like nobody's going to the movies on New Year's Eve.
No one's going to the movies on New Year's Eve, and I mean after Christmas maybe you'll see a movie on New Year's Eve, but however, there's another movie that came out. The only other horror / any movie that's come out is recent. Y2K just came out with Kyle Mooney.
Comedy horror, yeah.
It did not do well. It did not do well, unfortunately. I was hoping so hard it would do well, but it did not do well. I have not seen it, but it flopped. And it just goes to show New Year's movies don't do good.
What about New Year's Eve with Ashton Kutcher and like Every Actor Ever? Remember that movie?
What movie was that? New Year's Eve. Oh, that was Valentine's Day.
No, dude. Yes, there's a New Year's Eve movie. Yes, there is.
There is.
Hold on.
I'm pretty sure it's Valentine's Day with Robert De Niro and all that.
No, hold on. I think it came out like 2011. Yep. New Year's Eve, 2011, with Zac Efron, Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert De Niro, Hilary Swank.
Yeah, but that's like a rom-com. That's not a horror.
That's what I didn't say it was horror.
How'd that movie do?
Let's see, and then we'll wrap up. It was at a $56 million budget and it made $142 million.
Okay, so many money.
Here's the thing. I think this would qualify as like a Christmas kind of movie. Like you would probably go with a family or a girlfriend. Like nobody's going to see, maybe some people are going to see slasher movies right after Christmas, but I think this is an easy sell, rom-com.
I do like this movie. I hated watching it in some ways and I was cringing a lot, but like I do like the idea of this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's very clever.
Remake it.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying is that the idea of the time, every hour time zone I'm gonna kill someone is a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot there, but it just didn't hit the mark, especially with the biker scene. And
yeah, dude, use the internet for live stream and then also use New Year's Rockin' Eve.
If you were to do like what was that movie we did with the Uber driver with the guy from Stranger Things? Do that, but New Year's, call me on board. I think that'd be really good.
All right, well, that's it then. Wheel Horror. We are done for 2024.
Oh, Jesus.
And we're gonna be reigning in the new year. So yeah, we'll have the next week. It'll be the Phantasm, the complete series. So it's going to be all 5 episodes of that stitched together. So you can check that out. And then we'll be back the following week with something. I don't know what, but it'll be something, Eric. New wheel.
New wheel. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. New Year's Evil.
Yeah, and Happy New Year's, Eric.
Yeah, Happy New Year's, everyone. A brighter, better New Year to everyone who's listening. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, everybody, thank you very much for listening into our discussion on New Year's Evil. We hope you have a happy new year, and we will see you all next week with Phantasm, the complete series.
Woo!